Hey, welcome back. It's time for our first exercise. So we've talked about colors and buttons, typography, and jumbotrons in this section. We're going to combine them all, not into something beautiful or useful just yet, but we are going to just practice with a quick exercise. So as we go, these exercises will become more complicated because we'll have a bigger bank of components to draw upon. But right now, we only have a couple. So here's how it works. If you go to the downloads that I included at the beginning of this section, or the download, inside of that, along with the HTML files I was working on, buttons.html, colors.html, there's an exercise folder. And in there are three things. So first, there's a solution file. I recommend not looking at that until you need it. But then there's the starter.html file, which I have over here. And then this screenshot I'll come back to in a moment. So the starter.html file on its own, if I open with Live Server, looks like this. So I've included Bootstrap. You don't have to do any of that. All you have to do, there are two different sections, and let's focus on part one for now, which is right here. I've separated them with an H1, part one, part two. So part one contains a bunch of elements that are already ready. You don't have to create the elements from scratch. All you have to do is style them according to what they say. So for example, make this button right here a large red button in Bootstrap. And a quick note about the colors, I decided to say red, green, blue, light blue, yellow, instead of using the correct Bootstrap color terms or the names. And I did that just so that you got more practice and hopefully remember what the name is to get the default red. Of course, those values, those colors can be customized, so this only applies when we're talking about the built-in colors. Other than that, you just need to go through and, make this a button, make it a large button, make it a red button. And to show you what that looks like, this is sort of the end result for part one. So make this blue and give it a display of 4, display 4. Make this, which if you look over here is an H6 right here, make it look like an H1 without changing the actual element. Here's all the buttons. This one maybe is a little tricky. Green outline button, small with red text. Here's another, so moving down past the buttons, we've got this. Here's an H1, and there's this little part that says, make me gray. Or I guess, whoops, I have a little typo here. It should say make me muted. So make me muted, like it says over here. What else do we have? This paragraph. So give it a dark background and white text and center align it. It looks like this. And then finally, take this button that is a button right now and make it look like a link, not a button. So make it look like this. And again, only do that by adding a class or multiple classes, not by just changing this to be an anchor tag or something. Okay, so that is part one. So that's what's up top here. Part two is a bit different because I'm asking you to actually write the HTML and the CSS. So for part two, your goal is to recreate these two elements or these jumbotrons down here. One looks like this. It has a default gray background. As far as the text itself, you don't really need to worry about matching it word for word. Just focus on the colors and the styles. So, we have a big piece of text here. We have some text that isn't so big here. We have, this is actually a quote, as you can see, with the citation of the quote, the author. It doesn't matter what you say here or who did it, but somebody needs to be the author. And then a button of a certain color, this light blue color, the default light blue. Then down here, we've got another jumbotron, but this one goes all the way across the screen. Inside of that, we've got some more text, big text, some text down here. Notice that this is not the default paragraph. It has a little style on it, just a Bootstrap class, nothing custom. We've got a green button. And then there is a background image, and I included the background image here. One small note though, if you are doing this, your background image might look really, really large, and that's fine. I actually not only changed the background image of this jumbotron, but I also changed its position to be center. If you don't know how to do that, it's not really part of the exercise. I'll show you in the solution. Anyway, so that's where the screenshot comes in. If you don't want to reference the video, you can open up exercise part 2 and just look at what my screenshots look like, sort of follow along with this. So recreate this, don't worry about the exact text, just focus on sort of the general idea. So those are the two parts of the exercise. Part 1, just add classes to what I already added here for you, to these elements. And then part 2, recreate this from scratch. And remember, the background image is right here. But I would save that for last anyway. You will have to add some CSS on your own to make that background image work. If you skipped the Jumbotrons video or you left early, I know things do get long, but you may want to go rewatch that just to see how it's done. Cool. All right, we'll work on a solution in the next video.